Hello there and welcome back to another edition of Silly Car Showdown. Today I'm taking a look at the 2017 Ford GT. This is the latest in the line of the GT supercars by Ford, and it is powered by a V6 EcoBoost engine. I suspect it won't be by the end of this. It is my personal favourite of the GT Ford cars between the GT40, the 2005 and the 2017. Yeah, this one is my personal favourite, and it's certainly the best driving of all of those cars. Anyways, let's find out if it's going to be good once we make it a little bit silly, because that's the point of this series. Right, I guess we should look at swapping the engine. Of course, the EcoBoost V6 is a pretty good engine, but I'm sure there's more interesting options. There's a 6-litre V12, and you can 4-rotor this, and that's what we're doing. Now, a slight confession off the bat for the next two episodes, so this one and the one afterwards. I had already recorded them, however, I deleted the video files because I'm an idiot. So, I have technically driven these cars, however, that was about a week ago, so I don't really remember how they drive, to be perfectly honest. 265s on the front. Oh, I forgot to mention this car was requested by Q. And 345s on the rear. Excellent. Right. Good big tyres for the Ford GT, which it will probably need. We will have the gearbox, we will have the driveline. Don't think this is going to be too high up in PI. The Ford GT's, while it is a high starting PI vehicle, the 4-rotor not necessarily the best way to actually make power in this game. We discovered that with the MX-5 recently, so yeah, obviously the V12 would make 1250 horsepower. This obviously will not. So yeah, it will be at a bit of a power deficit compared to if I went with that engine, but we are going to stick with it. R896 is going to be the final PI for this vehicle. The one thing with the 4-rotor though, over the V12, is it is actually a pretty light engine, which does help significantly. Anyways, we have 756 horsepower, 477 foot-pound torque, 2,600 pounds of weight, front weight distribution of 46%, which, yeah, a little bit concerning. R896PI mid-engined rear drive. I suspect this one shouldn't be too mental, but I have been surprised by cars in a bad way before, so hopefully this isn't one of those. Of course, to find out how the Ford GT gets along, it is going to get 7 laps of the Brands Hatch Indy course to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Lotus Elise GT12 to set a time of a 43.846 to GT. Probably going to get up there. I don't think it's going to beat it. Cars it could go near. The wide guy NSX is in second with a 45.040, and the BMW i8 with a 46.066. Those did have a lot more power than this did, but then again, in the case of the i8 and the Acura, they aren't quite fully fledged supercars, the i8 especially, whereas this sort of is. I've already noticed one major issue with this car. That dash just sort of lights up constantly. I've driven, I'm not going to lie, the 2017 Ford GT stock, I've driven this car a lot for various things over the years. It is one of quite a few cars that I do just really enjoy driving, because I really like the way this car drives. 49.366 on its first lap. Pretty good. Yeah, I do enjoy driving this car stock, so usually when I see that all those dash lights lighting up like a Christmas tree, of course that is your usual sign to actually shift, but I'm having to basically look down at the actual HUD rev counter. It's surprising because you wouldn't really expect it to be that big of an issue, you know, just make sure to turn your brain off. You know, I do that with some of the other cars that I engine swap, you know, stuff like the GTO, and I'm trying to think, there's a couple of others. When you engine swap them, the tacks become completely useless, but I think it's just because it's all flashing and stuff, it sort of really does throw me off. 46.381 on the second lap, not far off the i8. The i8 was higher in PI. In fact, every single car I listed, the Acura, the Lotus and the BMW, were all P-class cars. This is very, very top of our class, so yeah. I will say, in terms of actual driving, the 4-rotors are not bad. Obviously, as I said when it came to the MX-5 Super 4-rotor, the thing with the 4-rotor is it doesn't get a whole lot of power, but it is a very reactive engine. It is kind of similar to the way, say, a Lexus LFA is, where the engine is extremely sensitive. And for a lot of cars, especially the older cars, you know, some of the older cars that can have this engine, and MX-5s, lighter cars, and stuff like that, they can get really thrown around by this engine because it just sort of instantly engages. And it throws you right back and can make the car have all sorts of handling issues. The GT has it a little bit, but it's not too bad. Of course, the 4-rotor much more reactive than the standard EcoBoost engine, but surprisingly decent. Of course, red line on this thing is rather mighty large. A couple more laps to go. Haven't really improved on that 46.3, unfortunately. Just trying to eke out time from this car seems to be a little bit of an issue. It handles pretty well. Yeah, other than the fact that the rear end does like to come out occasionally, just because of the way this engine works, and having to constantly remind my brain not to short shift this thing. It is good. Front end grip, surprisingly good considering the tyres on the front aren't the biggest things in the world. 265s on the front, sure, for like your classic cars and small cars, that is pretty meaty, but for the car, you know, like a supercar or something like that, it isn't too great. Wow. 46.342, didn't really improve all that much on that one, but that is very, very close, or 362, sorry. It's very close to the original time I set with this car. Yeah, just going to have to go a bit balls to the wall, see what I can do with it. That corner not taken particularly great. But are we on for a quicker lap? We are on for a slightly quicker lap. Messed up this corner a little bit. Yeah, it's all about just trying to be consistent around this track. A lot of people have issues actually driving Brands Hatch. And I can understand why. It is quite a... It looks very simplistic, but it is quite a weird course. Wow, 45.679. Well, it's quicker than the i8. The question is, on this final lap, will it get quicker than anything else? Yeah, interestingly enough, straight line speed probably one of the slower cars we've actually had in terms of overall straight line speed in this series. In terms of power, it's actually one of the lower end ones. I can't remember, I mean the Mazda, I think the Mazda 3 is the lowest powered car we've had. And a couple of the other sort of rotary vehicles, but yeah. This is one of the lower powered cars, probably not going to be hugely quick in a straight line. I don't think this lap's going to be any quicker. Did manage to mess up the exit out corner a little bit as we come down to the line. It's not going to be any quicker. But a 45.679 is not bad for our 4-rotor Ford GT, or the Ford... The Ford rotor GT. I can't make that pun. Yeah. Decent car. Wasn't expecting it to be particularly bad, to be perfectly honest. I had a little bit of a doubt in the back of my mind, but yeah, it does drive pretty solid. Anyways, a 45.679 will put it into third place. It is up there with the rest of the supercars. It is slightly slower by about 0.6 of a second on the Acura, but it does beat the BMW i8 by 0.4 a second, obviously beats the NASCAR 928. We have a bit of a gap there at the moment, but yeah, really very, very solid performance from the Ford GT. Can't say I would have expected much less from this car, although I would probably say as a general recommendation, probably wouldn't put the 4-rotor in this. There's other supercars, and hopefully you'll see some of them soon, that can have this engine, and they are a slightly better fit just because of the way they work from stock. Anyways, I want to thank you all very much for watching this edition of the Silly Car Showdown. If you would like to request a car for this series, you can indeed do so in the comment section of this video, and I will add them to my list, and, well, I'll eventually get on with them at some point. If you want to come check out my channel, that is also linked in the description. But thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.